Give me another second, Jeff. Well, I can't tell if we're live. Yes, we are live. Okay.
All right.
Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. My name is Greg Lewis, and I'm trying to figure out my controls here. So give me just one moment, please. What happened to my other screen? There it is. Whew. I am the marketing manager for MetaStock, and I want to thank you so much for joining us for today's very, very special live presentation with our very own Jeff Gibby. Before we introduce Jeff, well, he's right there, I wanted to go ahead and tell you about a great event coming up on September 15th through 19th, which is our quarterly, multi-day, super extravaganza traders conference. Today's theme is fall rally or fall fizzle, the real test of fall trading. And I think it's something every one of you should attend. And to do that, all you need to do is go to metastock.com/traders-conference. I will put it up in the YouTube chat and also the GoToWebinar chat in just a moment once Jeff gets started. But don't miss it, it'll be great. It's all free, and there's also valuable door prizes. And when I say valuable, I'm not kidding. Some of those door prizes are pretty dang good. Yeah, Jeff?
Yeah. What do you think, Greg? Do you think it's going to be a rally into the fall, or do you think it's going to be fizzle?
I'm always bullish. I'm not bullish. That's what my wife says all the time. I'm very bullish, but she doesn't mean it that way. Well, maybe she's been saying, anyway. So, hey, Jeff Gibby, he's been around for a long time. If you've seen anything that MetaStock has done for the last 20 odd years, live streaming, webinars, recorded, whatever, you likely know this gentleman. He's worked at MetaStock for 27 years. Jeff, take a guess at how many, I don't know the answer to this, but how many live presentations do you think you've done for this company? Just take a, because I'm going to guess upwards, it's in the upper, like approaching hundreds and hundreds. I mean, it's got to be like, do you think it's 1,000?
Okay, I'm gonna
once a week, every 52 weeks for the last 20 years. I mean, you know, that's about what it is if you do the math.
Yeah, I'd say I'd average probably about 3 a week, and then if you do that times about 12, and that doesn't count like the big one for online all week, right? Times that by about 20. I think we're into the thousands probably, but
yep.
That number came out lower than what I thought it would be.
So I understand you're a little nervous today. Don't be.
Oh yeah. I couldn't sleep all night.
Before we go proceed, we have to do a disclosure. Jeff usually reads this and he's very good at it. He can do it in that fast lawyer speak that everyone loves so much. But I'm going to try it today. Jeff, can you put up the disclaimer?
Oh yeah, for sure.
This demonstration is I'm not ready.
I'm going to do it.
I'll do it.
Okay.
This demonstration is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and accompanying software plugins. It is not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using the specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. MetaStock and its employees shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of this software, their trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. MetaStock and its employees do not endorse the purchase of any security, nor are they paid for the promotion of any security. No information contained in this presentation should be construed as investment advice or a solicitation to buy any security.
Yeah, you got it.
Good. Okay, well, I think I'll go ahead and get out of your way and let you do what you do so well. Break a leg.
All right. Thanks, Greg. I appreciate that. All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming today. I'm just going to do a bit of a class on the Ichimoku method, which we started to include in MetaStock 19. This used to be an add-on that you could buy. I liked it a lot because it kind of had a lot of similarities to a lot of the other expert advisors that are in MetaStock that are designed to help teach you things like teach you about candlestick patterns and teach you how to trade, or teach you about MACD. And so everything I'm going to show you today is included in MetaStock. If you're not familiar with MetaStock, it's a software program that we've been creating here in Utah. We've been making it for about 32 years. Well, I mean, we've been making it since the 80s, actually, but it's been rated #1 in its price category for 32 years in a row. It can help you scan. It can help you and find opportunities that exist in the market. It can help you test trading ideas so you can kind of see how well something works in the market. It can help you learn about the market. So today we're going to kind of be using MetaStock. I'm going to show you one of the built-in systems that I happen to like a lot. And while we're doing it, I'm going to teach you how to trade using the Ichimoku method. So as we get started, though, I do want to say a few things. We do have a great collection of data that's available from the London Stock Exchange Group. So if you're here in the US and you want to trade stuff that's in the US, you can. We get a lot of customers from India, Singapore, London. But the thing is regardless of where you happen to be in the world and what markets you want to trade, you're going to be able to get the data because of the connection we have with the LSEG, the London Stock Exchange Group. And they've got a great array, a great variety. They have hundreds of exchanges that are available. So the other thing, there's a couple things I like to kind of brag about when I start to talk about MetaStock. One of the things I'm super proud of is for this year, it was like the 32nd year in a row that MetaStock was rated the best program in its price category by the readers of Stocks and Commodities magazine. I think that's awesome. So, and then the other thing I like to talk a lot about is our support team, and they do a really, really good job. As I was saying before, MetaStock, we started to include the method I'm going to show you today in MetaStock 19. MetaStock 19 was a huge upgrade. If you haven't got it yet, if you haven't picked it up yet, I'd recommend you get it. Brand new interface. You get theme support, charting workouts, layouts. It's got a whole modern look and feel to it. Support for multiple monitors. It's kind of funny when we're here in the office and we're playing with MetaStock 19. Anytime we open up MetaStock 18, we remember just how much things have improved and changed as part of the program. All of the trying tools, the charting styles, the trading systems have been improved. So what I want to actually talk about today is the Ichimoku method. And I'm going to, it is one of the new systems. There's actually 4 new systems that were included in 19. ETS 2.1 was one of them. The Ichimoku Master is another one. Gap Identifier was one, and then the update to the RMO. So we're going to focus in. I'm going to kind of get out of the woods here. We're going to focus on Ichimoku Master as part of MetaStock 19. What I'm going to do, though, Ichimoku is a very, very popular method. Oh, also, this just came to my head. If you have questions, every time you see me look in this direction, I'm looking to see if you have questions, if you have comments, if there's a specific. We're going to be looking at stocks today. If you want to look at a stock and learn how to use Ichimoku with it, go ahead and type in a symbol. But if you need anything, let me know. I'll answer the questions you've got. If you're watching this in GoToWebinar, there's a little questions thing. You click on it, you type in your question, I can see it. Okay. If you're on YouTube, just type it in the question, in the comments or the chat. Okay. And if you're watching us on YouTube and you like the video, like and subscribe. Helps a great deal. We do a lot of really cool things. Like Greg said, in just a few weeks, we're going to be doing a conference. It's like 36 different speakers talking about all kinds of different investing related topics. So like, subscribe, those things help a great deal, and we appreciate them. So let's go ahead and kind of hey, Lewis, it's good to see you. Lewis says, hey, Jeff, I'm ready to learn the Ichimoku Master. Let's go. Okay. This gentleman here, is a gentleman by the name of Goichi Hasada. Goichi Hasada also went by the name Ichimoku Sanjin, which can be roughly translated to what a man in the mountain sees. This is the inventor of the Ichimoku method. He was a journalist, and he lived in the mountains of Japan. The Ichimoku method, just to kind of give you a little bit of background, he started to develop it back in the 1930s. And so it's a methodology that he perfected. He worked on it until about the 1960s when he released it to the public. And it's a method that has been very, very popular. There's a lot of trading courses that you can go and kind of learn about the method. And Ichimoku basically means one chart at a glance, or equilibrium chart at a glance. So that's kind of what it roughly translates to. This is a guy that invented it. Very, very popular method that's been kind of stood the test of time. People use it, they use it to this day. And again, very, very popular. So there's a number of different indicators that are included as part of the Ichimoku view. I'm going to go kind of through each one of them and kind of talk about how they interact with each other and how you can kind of get that one glance at a view thing. In terms of the Ichimoku, the uses for it are pretty straightforward. You can use it to get buy and sell indications. There's a primary and a secondary buy signal. I'll cover that. You can use it to determine bullishness and bearishness both now and into the future. I'll talk about that. The Kumo, or the cloud, helps you identify future and price direction, and I'll kind of talk a little bit about that as well. You can use it to identify where support and resistance is on the chart, the expected future trend. The last indicators we're going to talk about is kind of strength indicators. They show and anticipate the stability of the trend. So let's go ahead and kind of just jump into it. When you're looking at an Ichimoku chart, sorry, Greg. When you're looking at an Ichimoku chart, there's a number of different chart indicators that are on there. We're going to kind of go through them all individually. And again, if you have a symbol you want to look at, give it to me. We'll look at some symbols in the chart. I have Roblox, which has been one of my favorite symbols this year, loaded. So if I don't get any symbols, we can look at that. But the indicators that are included are the Tenkan-sen, the Kijun-sen, the Chikou Span A and the Chikou Span B, the Chikou Span, and then the close also plays an important role. So like talking about the indicators, the first two that we're going to talk about is the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen. Okay, if I wanted to kind of tell you exactly how the Tenkan-sen and Kijun-sen are calculated, it's very, very simple. What I'm going to do for the Tenkan-sen, which is this pink line here, is I'm going to go back 9 days and find the highest value. Okay. I'm also going to find the lowest value in those 9 days. I'm going to take those two values, add them together, and divide it by 2. What I'm getting is a middle point, or a midpoint, for 9 days. That's your Tenkan-sen. Okay. The Kijun-sen is the same thing, except for instead of looking at 29 days, we're going to look at 26 days. So I'm going to take the highest value for 26 days, the lowest value for 26 days. I'm going to add those together, divide those by 2, and I'm going to get a midpoint for 26 days. Okay. We're going to, a lot of the comparison that we're going to do between the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen is what we're looking at is a shorter term midpoint and a longer term midpoint. Now, I want to stress these are midpoints. They're not moving averages, but in my opinion, you can kind of use them exactly the same way you would use moving averages in the chart, because what you're looking at is you're looking at a shorter midpoint versus a longer term midpoint. So a lot of the rules that you kind of maybe have in your head already around looking at a shorter term moving average versus a long term moving averages are going to be the same. Okay, so for example, if my Tenkan-sen is trading above my Kijun-sen, that's going to be a bullish sign for the stock. Okay, that's it. Okay, if the Kijun-sen is below the Tenkan-sen, then it's going to be bearish, and that's one of the readings. That's one of the ways that you can get a bullish reading off of this. Okay, the secondary, not the primary. We're going to talk about the primary in just a minute. The secondary buy signal is if the Tenkan-sen crosses above the Kijun-sen. So right here, where we're looking at, and you can kind of see it off of the edge of the chart, right here, where the Tenkan-sen crossed up, it's been up and up. And obviously this chart's kind of got an upward bias. It's headed this way, right? But the whole time, or for most of the time, while that trend is happening, the Tenkan-sen has been above the Kijun-sen. The secondary buy signal for that would have been the TK cross, the Tenkan-sen Kijun-sen cross, and that would have happened right back here, kind of in the template. Okay. If our Tenkan-sen is above our Kijun-sen, that's bullish. I talked about that already. If it's below, it's bearish, and the cross indicates a secondary opportunity to buy or sell. It's not your primary buy signal with Ichimoku. Okay, let's switch over to the chart of a Roblox, and we'll kind of talk. Hey, Dennis, thanks for saying hi. All right, let's just kind of, I want you to kind of just ignore everything except for the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen. I know I've got a whole bunch of stuff on here. If we're looking at Roblox right here, if we look at the Tenkan-sen for this period of time, while the stock's been going up, it's been bullish. Just recently, we had a TK cross to the downside. The Tenkan-sen came down below the Kijun-sen. That's called a bearish TK cross. You see that it gave us a secondary sell signal. Now, we won't do anything with that sell signal because it's secondary We'll talk a little bit about how the cloud plays out to everything here as well. Back here, where we had a Tenkan-sen Kijun-sen cross, it happened right back here, and that gave us an initial opportunity to buy. Again, we still wouldn't do anything with this simply because of what we're going to talk about next, which is the cloud. Okay, but from a perspective of that, a bullish reading is as long as your Tenkan, just to kind of sum up a few things, is bullish if our Tenkan-sen is above our Kijun-sen, okay, which it has been this whole period of time. If it's down below, which it is right now, that would be a bearish indication. Okay, where the crosses happen, that's a secondary buy or a secondary sell setup. Okay. Chan says, what is the ideal time frame that this indicator works best in? I actually can't answer that question because I always look at daily and weekly, and it works really good on daily and weekly. I don't have the time, honestly, to look at a lot of charts intraday, just because these guys expect me to work. but it works really good on the daily. I've also heard that it works really good on any time frame, that you can apply it to any time frame. My recommendation is play with it. If you wanna look at this and play with it, the nice thing about looking at charts and technical analysis is everything's objective. You can kind of always play with it. You don't have to trade. You can kind of go back and say, well, okay, if I bought because there's a T-Cray cross back here and sold because we got a bearish signal here, how did that work? And obviously in this condition, it worked really, really well. Okay, thank you for the question, Chan. Yes, Chan, also we are recording this, so you can view it later. Within about an hour, after I'm done, it'll send you an email automatically that has the link to the recording. Thanks for that question too. Right, let's talk about the Kumo. All right. So we talked about Tenkan-sen Kijun-sen. You saw on the Roblox chart, we also had this cloud. This is called Kumo. Kumo means cloud in Japanese. So I always kind of giggle when I say Kumo cloud because I'm just saying cloud. The cloud actually is the space between two indicators, this one and this one. In this case, the blue indicator is called the Chikou Span A, and then the green indicator is the Chikou Span B. Okay, and then the distance between them would be the Kumo or the cloud. Okay, if I wanted to explain exactly how to calculate the Chikou Span A, what you're going to do is you're going to take both of these indicators, the Chikou Span A, you're going to add it to the Chikou Span B, and you're going to take that value, the sum of those, and divide it by 2. And you're going to plot it into the future 26 bars. That's why the cloud projects into the future 26 bars. So what we're looking at is really a midpoint of these 2 bars, but projected forward, or these 2 indicators to be specific, projected forward 26 bars. Okay. The Chikou Span B, which I need to come in and fix this slide, it doesn't say, but that's okay. The Chikou Span B, this bottom line is your highest high for 52 days, plus your lowest low for 52 days, divided by 2, and that gives you your Chikou Span B. Okay. Generally, when you're in an uptrend, and again, kind of think about it the same way we're thinking about the moving averages. This is a midpoint of these 2 things, and this is a much longer midpoint. It goes back 52 days. So generally, when we're kind of thinking about that, if we're in an uptrend, your Chikou Span A is going to be above your Chikou Span B. Okay. And when that happens with this cloud coloring that we've got, you have a green cloud. Okay. When the Chikou Span B comes down below your Chikou Span A, which happens right here, that's going to actually give you a red cloud, which is bearish. Okay. So if you have a green cloud, that's bullish. If you have a red cloud, that's bullish. Bearish. I'm sorry, bearish. You get what I'm saying. When you watch the webinar, you have to understand what I mean sometimes. Okay. Now, the other thing that kind of happens is when they switch positions and the positions of those change, that's called a Kumo twist. So right here, this is a bearish Kumo twist because your Chikou Span is coming down below your A is coming down below your Chikou Span B. And when it comes up above, that's a bullish Kumo twist because your Chikou Span A is crossing up above your Chikou Span B. Okay. There you go. I think I covered kind of most of those things. The cloud has a number of uses when we're kind of playing with and looking at the Ichimoku method. Okay. The first one I'm going to discuss is actually the primary buy signal. So before I said, well, when you get a TK cross, that's your primary. Your secondary buy signal. The primary buy signal is what we're going to look at is when the price comes from down below the cloud or inside the cloud and closes above the cloud. Okay, which it did right here. You see right here, we're coming down from down below the cloud to up above the cloud. When you have a close above the cloud, and I mean the higher value of the Chikou Span A or Chikou Span B, when you have a close that comes out of the cloud, that's your primary buy signal. Okay. Here, if you're above the cloud and you were to trade down below the cloud, that would be a primary sell signal. You'll notice it didn't do that here. It came down, used the cloud as support, and then kind of, in this particular case, went back up. Okay. But when we have a cross from down below the cloud to above the cloud, that's going to be the primary buy signal for the Ichimoku method. Okay. So, but that's not the only use. But wait, that's not all. That's not the only use for how you look at the Kumo. The Kumo has a lot of importance for a lot of different things in the Ichimoku method. The first of those is we can, actually got a whole list of these. So I'm going to kind of go over that list as we go. The Kumo twist we already talked about. If your Kumo twist is bullish, the last one or the next one that's going to happen, whatever is closer, that's a bullish or bearish indication. If you're up above the cloud, that's bullish. If you're down below the cloud, that's bearish. The direction of the cloud is also important when you're looking at the Ichimoku. In this particular example, the cloud is headed up. Okay, it's headed up now. That's bullish. But if we look at the future, it's kind of headed sideways, and that's more of a neutral indication. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. We also treat the Kumo as support and resistance. So we expect it to stay up above the cloud. And you'll see right here where we had this pullback, it came back, it tested the bottom of the cloud, and it's coming back up. We expect the Kumo. It doesn't always work that way, but we expect the Kumo to act as support and resistance. So I've got a whole bunch of lists. I want to make sure I don't forget anything. For trend bias, basically that just means if our price is above the cloud or the Kumo, we're bullish. If it's down below, we're bearish. That's how we look at it for trend bias. When we look at the chart, you'll see that it's got a trend ribbon here to kind of remind you of that fact. If we're below the Kumo or if we're above the Kumo, right? The price relationship to the Kumo gives us the trend bias. The Kumo does act as support and resistance. The direction of the Kumo, both now and into the future, is important to kind of give us an idea of where prices are going to be headed, or likely to be headed is probably a better way to frame that. And then your Kumo twist is going to be your relationship of where that twist happens. All of those things kind of give you a different reading. Give me just a sec. You're welcome, Jeff. How does it indicate a, how about Arlie? Tarun, thank you for the question. You can apply this on any time frame, and you can use it on any time frame that you want. You can even use it on multiple tick charts if you wanted to do that in MetaStock. The biggest recommendation I'd have for you is to just play with it, because it's going to look different on Google as opposed to Apple, as opposed to different charts, regardless of what time frame that you look with. Generally, in my experience, we're doing a lot of trend work here. So the stocks that are in good trends like Roblox are going to be the ones that really, really excel. The ones that are a little bit more sideways, which is your next question, how do I understand the bullish or bearishness, and how do we understand if it's more sideways than not? The more bullish a stock is, or the more trendy a stock is, whether it's bullish or bearish, the better this is going to perform. So, all right. Thank you for the question. All right. The next question that you had, and I think this kind of comes a little bit into scoring, how do I determine, we talked a lot, how do I determine, the actual question is, how does it indicate a sideways trend? Okay. And I've talked a lot about, this is bullish, this is bearish, this is bullish, this is bearish, and there's a number of different things that quite honestly, you're going to have a little bit of a difficult time probably keeping track of, especially as you're getting used to Ichimoku. So what I'm going to do, what I think is really, really cool about kind of the way this is integrated is it helps you to keep track. So let me come to my Roblox chart here and kind of show how it actually kind of keeps score of things for you. Before I do that, I do want to kind of reiterate kind of like what we'd be looking at. Right here, the first thing I kind of talked about is when we close up above the Kumo, which happened right here, that's our primary buy signal. So if we're looking at Roblox back here, we would have been very, very happy because to go long particularly. But if we're looking right here at the far edge of the screen, here we had the TK cross, which gave us this secondary buy signal. But it wasn't until we closed above the Kumo that we started to get that primary buy signal. I would not take a buy signal while we're in the cloud or while we're under the cloud. Okay, we're always going to want to, well, I always want, I'm not going to tell you how to trade, I just want to teach you how to use this, but I always want to trade it once the trend is above the cloud, once the price is above the cloud. Okay, once we start to get above the Kumo, we're going to get that trend ribbon. Okay, you can see right here, this has been a fairly orderly trade up. Okay, we did have a TK cross, which gave us a sell signal. I would not consider selling this right now because we're above the cloud. And in fact, if we look at where we're at in the price, right now, the cloud is definitely headed up. And in the future, it's definitely, it's narrowed down a little bit, but it's definitely still headed up, okay? But there have been a number of things, and this is kind of going to kind of help you identify how bullish a stock is. Like there are a number of things that we're talking about in terms of bullishness or bearishness. And the expert advisor will help you keep track of this. So I'm going to go to view expert commentary right now. And I'm going to kind of just show you how it works. Okay. So up here, it's going to have the actual Tenkan-sen values. This should be locked on the very, very last bar, which is the 27th. Wow, it's the 27th already. We're almost into September. Oh, in any case, I was going to say happy Labor Day weekend. For all of you guys. So right here, our TK cross was bearish. That happened right here, okay? It gave us a weak TK cross. If we're trying to kind of determine, are we in a trend right now? Obviously, we've been in a pretty good trend. We can just see that on the chart. But this, sometimes that's not as obvious, right? Our relationship from price to Kumo, okay? We're trading above the cloud still. That's bullish, and it kind of reminds us that. Our current Kumo direction is bullish. We're headed up right now. And in the future, we're headed up, which is also bullish, okay? We didn't talk about the Chikou Span yet, but that's next. And we'll talk about it's bullish. The relationship to price is bearish. And our period since our last Kumo twist was bullish. Okay, so there's the scoring. Before I kind of talk more about the scoring, I need to go back and talk about the last two indicators. The first is the Chikou Span, and the second is close. So I'm going to pause right here. We're going to come back to this commentary and kind of help you kind of pull everything together. Before I do that, let's talk about the last two indicators. We're almost done. Okay, I'm going to go ahead next. The Chikou Span is this line right here. It's orange in this spread in this thing. All it is it takes the close today and it moves back in the chart 27 days. Okay. If our price, so we're comparing the close to what the close was 27 days ago. Okay. There's two uses for it basically. Okay. If our close currently is above where it was 27 days ago, it adds stability to the trend. It's bullish, okay? If our close is also above the Kumo 27 days ago, if our Chikou Span is above the cloud 27 days ago, that also leads stability to the trend, which is bullish, okay? If it's about the same price, then obviously it's going to help us identify that we're at the same place price-wise as we were 27 days ago. That might help us understand, Tarun, how that we're in a sideways trend because we just haven't moved very much. If we're down into the cloud or down below the cloud, that's going to indicate more of a bearish trend. So that's how we use that too. So Tarun asked if there's any reason I'm not using a candlestick chart. No, I'd recommend it. Yeah, that's a really, really good question. I prefer candles. So, there's no reason, the Ichimoku method doesn't, it uses bars, but I would recommend you use candles. And if you want to change that, I appreciate the question. Anything you ever want to change in MetaStock, just right click on it. Let's go to properties. Let's make this a candlestick chart real quick. I like that question, Tarun. There, we're both more comfortable now. All right, so let's just kind of take a look at where we're at on Roblox right now, okay? And this is gonna help us. We've already talked about our weak TK cross, bearish, but we're still bullish, 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 bullish. Our Chikou Span relationship to the price, that's kind of where we left off. We're down, we're about the same place as we were 27 bars ago, right? If we're right where we were, so if it's gone up, it's gone back down, but it's kind of sideways, and that's why we get a neutral rating right here. Okay. In fact, it says trade entry not recommended. Okay. Our last Kumo twist, we haven't had a bearish twist right yet, but our last Kumo twist was 60 days ago, so that was bullish. Okay. So if I'm kind of looking at this, I'm kind of taking a score for it. We've got one bearish condition, which is our TK cross right here. That happened just a few days ago, 6 bars ago. Okay. Everything else is bullish except for neutral with this stability of the trend. Okay. The other thing I like about this, because is there's a lot of stuff that I've talked about. The expert can kind of help you remember it and help you learn it too. So if I come down here, I talked a lot about the Tenkan-sen, the Kijun-sen, and the signal. Right here, if we look at this, this black part is going to kind of give us an overview of what that is. You can read it. I'm not going to read it out loud because I don't want to. The blue part, though, tells us what's happening right now. In other words, the latest Tenkan-sen cross happened, and it was a weak signal, and it happened 6 bars ago. Okay, so the black part is just to kind of, hey, this is what it is in general. The blue part is this is what's happening now. Okay, here's the Kumo. Here's what happened. The Kumo you're going to use the Kumo for. Here's a breakdown on what's happening on the chart. It also has to do with current Kumo direction. So everything that's kind of in that scorecard is going to be itemized, and it's going to kind of be listed out. And that's one of the things I really, really liked most about the way that this was developed out. Because one of the things I initially really, really loved about MetaStock when I started here, I didn't know anything about the markets. One of the things I really, really liked is I put on the candlestick expert advisor. It was labeling patterns for me, and I could go in, I could look at exactly what was happening, and it was really helpful for me to kind of start to understand what was going on. And I think this fits really well into MetaStock because I'm telling you what the Ichimoku is and the method is, but this is going to help you remind you what's going on. So the other thing that you can use with Ichimoku, when Goichi Hasada developed the Ichimoku method, he didn't have firm exits. So you have a lot of stuff that tells you, hey, this might be going up, it might be going down, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But he really didn't talk about when to get out of the stock. Okay. However, since like a lot of the values that he uses, since we treat the cloud as support and resistance, you should, like, obviously if we come down and we close down below the cloud, you should get out of the stock. You're down below resistance. That's going to be support at that point, right? But there's some things that you can use as stops, and it kind of depends on what you want to do. But one of the stops would be the medium stop that we could look at is the Chikou Span A. That'd be the top level here. The next stop would be the Chikou Span B, okay, which would be right here. Okay, so there you go. That's how you can kind of use stops. You can also use the indicators, but we're already down below the Tenkan-sen. So those are some things that you can look at as well. Coincidentally, if you like to test these as ideas, you can go in and you can test them. You can say, well, okay, what if I use loose stops? What if I use tight stops? How does that work? The system tester in MetaStock will allow you to do that. So, okay, no more questions. Let me kind of just talk a little bit about how, hopefully this kind of gives you a good idea of what the Ichimoku method is. Hopefully you can kind of come in here. If you've got MetaStock, it's pretty easy to play with. You can go back in time and say, well, if, actually this is actually kind of interesting to me, if I would have been looking at it here where we just crossed about the cloud, what would have been my bullish or bearish reading? And it will give us this. You can see this little arrow means we're looking at this day. We had we're bullish, we're bullish, we're bearish, we're bullish, neutral. So actually even here, where we kind of started to break out of this channel, the score that we're getting out of this was fairly strong. So let me go ahead and, of course, with MetaStock, one of the things I use every day is scanning. I love to be able to go in and kind of find the opportunities. And I love the way that Robert, when he designed this, Robert Dedman is the person that we bought the Ichimoku method from. He had initially created it as an add-on for MetaStock, but I love the way he developed the explorations. So I'm going to kind of show you how that works. If you're not familiar with MetaStock, the exploration just allows you to scan. It allows you to say, okay, what's giving me a buy and a sell signal right now? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to jump in here, and I'm going to kind of go into the Ichimoku signals, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of have this look at yesterday. I'm going to have it look at yesterday. I'm just going to feed it a very small list just so that it runs fairly quickly, okay? So let's just have it do the NASDAQ 100. Hopefully we'll get some results from it. What this is going to do, you can see again it's chunking through here. It's going to go through, and we talked about the primary bias and the secondary bias. It's going to go through the NASDAQ 100. I'm just doing the NASDAQ 100 so I can quickly show you what's going on. But it's going to go look at all the stocks in that NASDAQ 100 yesterday and say, out of those, which one had a primary buy? The primary buy was, again, when it comes from down below the cloud or from within the cloud and closes above the cloud. That's the primary buy. Or in addition to that, which ones are above the cloud or bullish and have a secondary buy, have that TK cross, the first condition, okay? And so out of the 100 stocks, it went through and it identified, actually there's 101 in the NASDAQ 100, but it identified everything that had it, and there's only like maybe 7 on this list, okay? If it has a 2, so you'll see there's a number in this signal column. I've already sorted it based on the signal column. You have a 2, a 2, a 2, a couple ones, and then a -1 and -2. The one, the number one, what that means is yesterday, or I'm sorry, the day before yesterday, because I scanned for yesterday. The day before yesterday, it was under the top of the cloud. So in the cloud or underneath the cloud completely. And then yesterday it closed above the cloud, signaling an initial long entry, okay? And the 2 that meet that criteria are Tesla. We're gonna look at Tesla, that'll be fun, and Lam Research, okay? The 2 means it's above the cloud, but it had a TK cross, that secondary buy signal. That gives you the 2. -1 means it's a bearish cross. It came down below the cloud. -2 is that it's below the cloud already and give us a secondary buy signal, okay? So we could run a whole bunch of stocks. It filtered out, it rejected 93% of the stocks. So already, as a trader, I don't want to look at a whole bunch of charts that I'm not going to trade anyway. This way I can focus on the ones that kind of have an opportunity. But in addition to that, one of the things that Robert put in here was that score. So I can see what the TK cross was, okay? Is it bullish or bearish? Did the TK cross above the Tenkan-sen cross above the Kijun-sen? Where is the close in relationship to the Kumo? What's the current Kumo direction? What's the future Kumo direction? What's a Chikou Span to relationship to Kumo and price? And it gives you a total score. I thought this was a little bit interesting. When we have Robert come in and kind of teach this class, he usually doesn't like to find them perfect, okay? We have perfect on score of 6 on Lam Research and Tesla. Actually, I think the scoring might go to 8. It might not be perfect, okay? But from a perspective of that, Robert always said he was more interested in the 4s and the 5s and maybe even the 3s, because by the time something got a 6, there was maybe a area, you're maybe in an area of more limited opportunity. So anyway, let's just go ahead and take a look at Tesla real quick. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and open that up on the chart. Okay. And I must have selected the wrong day because when we had the TK cross, it was right here on the 11th, on the 8th. So did something wrong with my exploration, but let's go ahead and kind of just look at the 8th anyway, which is when that happened. We can see we had a bullish, bullish, bullish. Okay, that was where we could kind of got that initial entry signal. So there you go. That's how the Ichimoku method works. All of that's included in MetaStock 19. So one of the things I absolutely kind of did with him, let's see if I don't think I missed anything. Let me sum up this a little bit. Okay, so for Ichimoku method, you're looking to find buy and sell indications. It can give you bullishness and bearishness. It can do kind of everything. And we kind of went through everything on the chart. The reason I wanted to include it with MetaStock as just a freebie that something could use is I feel it's very, very useful. You know, I've seen a few educators that are out there that are teaching a class that's like maybe like $5,000 on just how to use the Ichimoku method. And this, I think, is helpful for you to learn about the methodologies, understand them. You can test them. You can see how well they work. You can look at a whole bunch of charts. And then once you kind of get to a point where you feel really good about it, if you want to, you can actually use it to implement and to run scans and to find those entry signals every day. So I think it really, really works well in MetaStock. There's a thing of the system tester. This used to be an add-on. Now it's just included with MetaStock for free. I'm gonna kind of start to wrap up just a little bit. The thing I do want to say is for 32 years in a row, MetaStock's been rated #1 in its price category. We talked about kind of like all the stuff that you can do. I want to iterate or reiterate. Actually, I don't think I've talked about this before, kind of alluded to it. So I guess it would be an iterate, not a reiterate. But I've just shown you one of the systems in MetaStock. We spent about 40 minutes doing that. It's a very, very cool system. The Ichimoku method has been very, very popular since it was released in the 1960s for a reason. But there are about 300 different systems in MetaStock that you can use, that you can test. It's a massive toolbox to help you get running in the markets. I think that's why so many of our customers have been with us for decades. If it wasn't helpful for them, they just wouldn't keep it, right? If it helps, a good software should help you pay for itself. It should help you find better opportunities. It should help you be more effective. And I believe that that's why we've been rated #1 in our price category for 32 years in a row. So this I would consider a bonus. There's so many things that you can do in the MetaStock engine. So we do have 2 versions of MetaStock. We have what we call MetaStock Real-Time. It includes MetaStock. It also includes a product called MetaStock Zenith. MetaStock Zenith is a platform that gives you news and information. It was developed to be a competitor to Bloomberg. It's one of the best news macroeconomic data packages available. And we do have data for every corner of the earth. To give you some reference, if you're going to go get Bloomberg, it's about $2,300 a month. You're probably not going to do that. But the news and information and MetaStock, all of that put together will be about $265. That'll give you access to daily, intraday, 60 minutes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We also have another version of the software that we call MetaStock Delayed Charts. MetaStock Delayed Charts is $74.95 per month. It does daily, weekly, monthly, yearly charts, and it updates on a 15 to 20 minute delay. So everything I showed you, you can go in and look at your Ichimoku charts in the day. During the day, you can see what's going on. You can run your scans just like we did right now during the day. There's no waiting until the market closes like some other platforms. We actually did have a platform like that, but we just offered the update to the free delayed for everybody this year. We didn't charge anybody extra for it, anything. So you can do a delayed version for just $75 a month. Okay. What we're going to do as part of it, we talked about Ichimoku. I just call it a bonus because it's included as a bonus. I did also talk about the gap identification system a little bit. If you want to trade gaps, Steve Bigelow said something. I'm gonna paraphrase the quote. He said, "Gaps are a great indication of investor sentiment," something along those lines. This is something that you can use to scan for and identify gas during the day. You can see if they're volume confirmed, and it's also just included. In addition to that, we with this version of MetaStock, we included a very popular add-on called the Michael Murmurs ETS system, which is great, and you can test it and you can kind of look at it. So those are, we also included JBXE. This update, if you're using MetaStock and you haven't gotten on 19 yet, I would highly recommend it. There's so much in there. In fact, when we go in and talk about just all the stuff that we added to 19, we try and cover that all in one webinar. It usually takes a couple hours to get through. It's such an incredible update. So if you're new to MetaStock, got a special offer for you, but we want to make sure that you understand how to use it. This is a toolbox, okay? If you understand how to use a screwdriver, you're going to be able to use it better than if you're trying to hammer a nail with it, right? The better you understand how to use the tools, the more it's going to work better for you. So we're going to include the Unleash the Power of MetaStock training. That's going to tell, it's got 14 videos that you can go through. It's got lessons. It's a $99 value, but we're going to include it for free, okay? We also want to make sure you use it. If you can start using MetaStock and it helps you with your trading, it's going to be really, really valuable for you, which is valuable for us because you'll be one of our customers that is on for another decade. So once you get set up with MetaStock, we're going to set you up with an onboarding specialist. They're going to walk you through how to set up your charts. They're going to answer any questions that you have, how to run explorations, whatever it is that you want to use in MetaStock. They're going to kind of go through and just walk you through it. But in addition to that, we do have, and I think I said this earlier, our support team. We keep more people in our support team than we put in sales and marketing put together. So as a MetaStock customer, anytime you have any questions about anything, you can give us a call, you can chat online with us, you can send us an email, and they're right over here. They do a really, really good job of actually kind of walking you through everything. So the offer that I'm going to do for you today is what we call our extended trial. So if you buy a month, you can buy a month of the real time for $265, experience all the news and the real time intraday periodicities, all that kind of stuff. If you buy, you could also do this with the end of day. At $75. If you buy a month, we will give you the second and the third month for free. Okay, so if you do the $75 MetaStock version of MetaStock, you're going to be running right now until November. Yeah, November. Yeah, you'll be running until Thanksgiving almost, November 27th. I'm not sure what day Thanksgiving actually falls on, but it's going to be here before you know it. And to do that, to get access for that long, you're going to pay $25 a month because I'm giving you the second and third month for free. So you pay for the first month, you get the second and the third month for free, and there's no commitment. If it's not helpful, if it doesn't help you find better trades, cancel it. You're no ongoing commitment. Okay, $25 a month. As part of that, again, you're going to get MetaStock 19. You're going to get the data for the region of your choice. You're going to get that white glove installation support and unlimited access to our support. So there's a couple of different ways that you can sign up for that. You can give us a call, 800-882-3040. You can go to metastock.com/sales-chat, or you can go to metastock.com/3for1. Give it a go. I wouldn't trade without it. I wouldn't be able to find the trades that I'm in without it. Metastock.com/3for1. I highly recommend it. I use it every day. Looking to see if I missed any questions. I did not. Well, I guess if I missed them, I wouldn't see them, right? I don't see any questions that I missed. If you need anything from us, give us a call. We'd love to talk to you. If you have more questions or you want to get more information, give us a call, 800-882-3040. Hop on metastock.com/sales-chat if you want, or if you just want to sign up for $25 a month, metastock.com/3for1. I hope this was helpful for you. Every time I come in and do a webinar, I hope you learned something. So hope you at least learned a little bit about the Ichimoku method. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, it helps a great deal. Stay healthy, stay well, enjoy yourself. I'll see you at the next webinar.